When I say running posture, I'm usually talking about two things. I'm talking about how nice and linear and upright you are, but I'm also talking about rotational strength as well. And this mostly all comes from the core. But firstly, before I delve into either of those, what do we mean by good running posture? How many times have you seen someone start a race looking nice, relaxed, tall, comfortable posture, and then as the race goes on and on, they gradually develop this forwards lean, this almost fold from the waist. And you may have heard that a forwards lean, well, that's good in running, right? Yes, it is, as long as it's a forwards lean from the ankles, not a fold from the waist. When we start to fold at the waist, it's a sign of a weak core. And this kind of compresses the lungs so we can't get as much oxygen in. But also, it has us look downwards, which psychologically affects us quite a lot. But also, it really reduces the amount of space that you can open up in front of yourself to stride out into. Test this. Stand nice and upright. How far can you lift your leg? And then fold forwards. How far can you lift your leg? You will find it a lot harder to lift your knee into a knee drive when you are folded forwards from the waist. And this is why we want good running posture with a strong core in order to avoid this waist fold. However, we also want to avoid the opposite as well. You will see some runners who run almost hips first with a backwards lean. And why this is bad is it encourages a little bit of an overstride in front of us. And if you have watched the video on balance, you'll know that an overstride is something that we ideally want to avoid. So by having this backwards lean, they are putting themselves at more risk of injury through heel striking, through overstriding, through maximising the braking force through their running stride as well, which has a detrimental effect on running economy. And also they're just shortening their stride too, because if you lean backwards, how far can you stride? If you stand neutrally, how far can you stride? Just so much more comfortable if you don't have a backwards lean. So most people, when they're feeling nice and comfortable and when they have strong cores, kind of fall into this middle ground. A lot of people do use the analogy of imagine a balloon is coming from the top of your head. However, this does encourage a slight overcorrection of posture as well, because it's almost slightly too upright. Everything is stacked in this posture. We've got ankles, we've got hips, we've got shoulders, we've got head, and we're being pulled upwards from that balloon. If, however, we can imagine a balloon pulling us from in front of ourselves, we will gather more forwards momentum. We will open up more ground to fall into, and running is a series of falling and catching, falling and catching. If we can maximise that fall by having that forwards lean from the ankles, we open more space to fall into, our knee drive can come up healthily, but also our heel lift can come up healthily as well, opening up maximum space. So how do we encourage good running posture in this stable, nice, tall, linear, stacked position? Basically having a strong core. Exercises like planks or anything which uses a weight above head to encourage that nice stacked vertical column can be really, really useful here. And just having a visual clue as you run can be quite useful as well. Think about something you see not too infrequently on your runs. That is now your cue to have a nice tall posture, because a lot of it is habitual. And if you practice with good habits, you'll also strengthen your core that way as well. But still do your core work. And the second element which is useful to look at is rotational core strength as well, which does affect our posture as well. I'll talk about this a little bit more in the arm drive video as well, but if you have a weak core in a rotational direction, then you will waste energy. If your upper body rotates too much that way through having a weak core rotationally, then your hips are forced to rotate the other way in order to gather forwards momentum. And that torsion just creates extra tension in the body, puts you at more risk of hip injuries, and also just wastes energy. And exercises which you can do to strengthen your rotational strength in order to maximize your posture there is exercises like Russian twists, anything with a bit of a twist in them, because if we strengthen our obliques, our twisting core muscles, then we will be able to hold ourselves in a more linear position without a twist as well. So twisting wall sits, Russian twists, planks with a twist, anything like that, really, really good for strengthening if you notice you're fatiguing and wasting energy through excess rotation.